All right, so today we are speaking to Patrick. Now, Patrick has a video and photo creative background, and he used that to start an agency, but he's kind of been struggling. He's never really had the right guidance or the right direction, so he decided to join Digital Launchpad. And inside of Digital Launchpad, he's gone through all of the sales training as well as all of the other programs that come within it. And literally within a week, he managed to fix all of the bottlenecks in his business. He managed to improve his sales process. And within 2 weeks of joining Digital Launchpad, he closed his first client for £500 a month. Now, inside of his journey, the community inside of Digital Launchpad has played a very, very important role. And honestly, I'm just super excited for you to hear his story. So let's get into it.
Patrick, thank you very, very much for joining me today. Very excited for this one. Fellow resident of the UK, so this one should be fun. How are you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for having me. It's great to be on. Yeah.
Amazing. So before we start, as per usual, a little bit of a brief intro about yourself, how old you are, whereabouts you're from.
I'm 24. I moved to the Southwest UK. Long story short, really, I got into the kind of self-help space like midway through the pandemic. I was still being quite complacent. I learned a lot about like financial education, financial literacy, all the stuff about banking, investing, and it's been great, but I was still complacent until kind of the end of 2022 for me. I realized I was doing a lot of like freelance, like film extra stuff, work like that with film and TV. And that was great. I was paying my bills for a while, but I got to this point where it was kind of hitting a dead end and I wasn't really going far with it. So I ended up just trying to find some freelance stuff online. Had a couple of little like editing jobs here and there because I like filmmaking. That's mainly my background. So I was just using any of the like videography, filmmaking skills I had. And then, started kind of a small business in a local area, just generic social media management, going to local small businesses saying, hey, I'll run your Facebook, Instagram stuff for a few hundred a month, whatever. Got a few clients going and I ended up working with a couple of friends from an old kitchen place I used to work basically. And we kind of made like a kind of glorified freelancing situation out of it with us. But it was good. It was all right. But long term, over the course of like 3 to 6 months or so, I realized that it made me very complacent and I was just in this position where I wanted more, but I didn't really know how to get more. It still exists. It's kind of dissipated a bit now, but that's when I was kind of like putting my foot down finally again after about 7-8 months through last year. And I thought I'm going to properly start an agency now because I've been watching a man's content for like 3-4 years now. I know too much to not take action on it. Yeah. So I just started the business last year, started my agency in October. Yeah, since then I was still kind of complacent, but I was like, I know where I want to go. I know what I want to do. I know a lot of theory now because all the stuff I've been watching, talking to a few different people in a few free communities mainly. This is my first like paid community since I joined Digital Launchpad around basically about the beginning of June, pretty much.
We'll get to the Digital Launchpad and how it's changed everything. But just going back to your story there, I mean, obviously there's quite a variety of work you've done there. How was the agency doing? I know you said it was couple of clients, local clients, because a lot of people start on that journey, right? A couple of local clients and stuff like that. How was it actually going generally, the agency? How was it? Did you feel as if you had a proper agency? Did you have all the systems in place? Did you feel that it was a proper business or was it just dabbling at it really?
Well, that's the thing. The short answer is no to most of that because it was this position where although I'd watched so much stuff, this is kind of proof that you can learn a lot in theory and literally hundreds of thousands, millions of hours of like all the content you can watch on like YouTube and places, but so many of us, myself included, we're just going through it and you just don't act on it. All this stuff I knew about systemizing this and making like standard operating procedures, putting this here, that here, and making it all a system that runs. And I didn't. Like I started this thing and I got the dopamine hit of getting some clients. I didn't even know what to charge at the beginning. Like my first client was £250. I thought it was amazing because,
it is
that
amazing.
Is good. That is fantastic.
Don't do yourself a discredit, man. That is for a first deal.
Yeah.
You don't really know what you're doing.
Yeah,
that's a big win, right?
It was fantastic. Yeah. So I did learn a lot from those, to be fair, because I look back and it is really good, actually, like all of what I was doing. I think it was my general charisma of, although I presented myself in probably not the most confident way compared to what I can do now, like just nearly 2 years later, but I was able to kind of show my filmmaking sense of me and come out and be like, yeah, I've got this creative side to me. I like doing this, I like doing that. And then they kind of naturally, especially with local people in local areas, small business owners, they kind of naturally like connected the filmmaking creativity with, you can run our social media pretty well then.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
kinda,
I get that now. And you've got this little agency that you're not quite sure if it's an agency. You kind of end up freelancing and stuff like that. And then eventually, obviously, you go through this period of procrastinating. You're not quite sure. You're a bit complacent, as you said. Where does Digital Launchpad happen? Where did you first see Digital Launchpad? What was the thought process behind joining, and what actually made you take that plunge to join?
like I said, I've been following a man closely for nearly 2 years now. I watched him very loosely at the beginning, but yeah, the last couple of years I've been watching basically every video. I saw the beginning of Educate. I was watching, the product launches and things. And I'd say I was hesitant to begin with, like a lot of people are, but I think I just kind of went all the way through the funnel, to be honest. It took me all the way through until basically like the beginning of this year. I was kind of, do I do it? Do I not? Because I'll be honest, I knew it was for people trying to obviously make more money online, especially if their agency owners are trying to make money in copywriting or drop shipping, whatever it might be. And there was probably this slight ego of me going like, do I really need that though? Like I can just find some other community. So there was a humbling there and kind of realizing, well, I might have done it, but I'm not where I want to be. So it's proof that the answer to that is no. Like
and mate, let me just before you carry on with that self-reflection, it's so important, right? The fact that you could actually humble yourself to understand that you do need to do this. You're not where you need to be. You need help. I respect that, to be honest. A lot of people don't have that awareness and that moment of like self-reflection to understand where they're at and what they need. So you humbled yourself and then you decided to continue with Digital Launchpad.
I was at that point, I think it was like between February and like April, May time of this year. I thought, I don't need it really. Do I really need it? Do I need a community? Like the best advice for anybody in this situation, it's just putting yourself in that third person perspective. Take yourself out of your situation for a minute. And I just thought, right, well, if I'm not where I want to be, what's going to get me there? I know what I want. I've got clear vision of it, but I'm not there. And so what is going to get me there? Sitting in my room talking to the same people every day isn't going to get me. I need to do something different to make something different happen. So yeah, around the end of May, beginning of June, I thought it's a no-brainer really for the price. It's not like it's a $5,000 course or something. So
well, it's difficult for me because obviously people are going to think that I'll be biased. When it comes to communities, this is a standalone thing, man. There really is no comparison. I know people say, oh yeah, Ali, you're going to say that because of Digital Launchpad, blah, blah, blah. But literally what we've built, the price, the level of education, the community, which we're all going to get into in a second, it is a no-brainer. It actually is a no-brainer. Like you really have very little to lose. I'm glad you see that as well, to be honest.
It's literally just, I thought about this the other day when I signed up, and then within the first couple of weeks, I thought, at the end of the day, this is less than most people would spend on a meal out. I mean, not even like a fancy, like just an everyday restaurant. You'll spend double or triple this once.
Bro, you go to Nando's now, man. It's like £20, £25. Like, do you know what I mean? So it's like really, if you start thinking about it in that context, it's like, wow, this is bargain. It really is. And I think it does frustrate me sometimes because people say, oh, I'm this community or that community or a free community or this. I really, really would urge people to really take a moment to look at these student interviews. This is coming directly from the students. This is a complete different gravy in Digital Launchpad. And I'm glad, obviously, guys like you are on to able to be built into the ethos and the culture and the community.
Yeah.
But it's different coming from me and it's different coming from somebody who's paid to join. So I'm glad you're saying the things that, resonate with me in terms of what I think about Digital Launchpad. So you've joined and you've done 6-figure sales reps, the program you've gone for, right? Tell me about your experience with that program.
I mean, honestly, Paul is amazing as a salesman. I've been watching more of his content recently, and this kind of relates to what we're saying about why it's a no-brainer, because there are courses out there, there's programs, there's communities, and I mean, within less than an hour of watching a few of the modules, what he was doing, like it's
aha moment.
I had like some golden nuggets of info that just what he goes through, and again within that 1 hour, again there is unlimited possibility. You can't put a figure on what you can make from that piece of information. Going forward in my life, and $37. It's crazy.
And in terms of the program itself, obviously we've got coaching as well in the community. I mean, the coaching now is done by Scott Brunning. He's a sales manager at Educate. It doesn't get more top quality than Scott. He actually coaches within the community and within the team, the Educate team as well. So how have you found the combination of obviously the program and then the coaching? How has that added on to your experience of, your learning experience?
Yeah, I've been trying my best. I've not been in many stages, but even from like the few I have been in, again, it's invaluable, because the normal thing is like one-to-ones are great or free. You can watch any of Iman's calls or him closing someone on YouTube, but it's not the same as just being you're literally like virtually in the room with someone. You're hearing other people's questions and answers. You're hearing their perspective, like fresh perspective, because they're giving you now. It's not like a pre-recording. You can't beat that, really. I've even got friends that have spent like 5 figures going to events, doing online virtual things, and it's not the same. This is just, it's incomparable, really. So that's why
it is, honestly, it is. And about these coaching calls, I'm often a fly on the wall on these coaching calls. I like to bob my head in and have a look and see how it's going, what the vibe's like, how well received it is. The level of questions from the students, absolutely, I'm startled every single time. And it's even like, I'm not lying, I've been into some of these calls and even I've been left scratching my head like, that's a bloody good question. I didn't think of that, So I understand exactly what you're saying as you go in and you get in the perspective of different people at different stages of the education, and it's actually making you think slightly differently as well.
And that's what's so important with that stuff. One of the greatest things I learned, I don't know who it was from, but like the 33% rule, about at some point in life, you want your mentor, you want to be surrounding yourself with people that are at your level, above your level, and then as you progress in life below your level, so that you can always be working with those kind of people. And this community does that. That's what Digital Launchpad does, because again, with programs and courses and things, you can buy all the courses you want, but you don't have the community.
The community is such we don't underestimate it, but it's such an important thing in doing the journey with people who are on the same path. Hits differently. Having accountability from people on the same path hits differently. It's just a fact. It takes your chances of success to a whole new level. There's not one person that I've come onto a student interview with or one person I've spoken to who has said anything other than glowing feedback about the community. So on that, nice way to segue into it. Tell me how your experience has been with the community at Digital Launchpad.
It's fantastic. And I mean, I only recently just discovered the UK section as well, which is brilliant as well. Like I was just slowly going through all the channels. And this is the thing as well. There's not just like one chat where people every now and again are kind of commenting on things. There's something for everybody. It depends.
It's very strategically set up to make sure that we, throughout the journey of a student, in terms of not just learning, because our plan isn't just for students to make money. It's to make connections, make friends, have experiences. It's more than just let's come and educate you and off you pop. It's like build friends for life, build a community for life. You were saying it's built very nicely for
and
you
that's the thing as well. It's built amazingly. And on your point there, like I've already connected with a few different people they've asked me questions about like my first client. A lot of people are asking about sales situations, and like within this short space of time, I've met like-minded people. I've met people that are ahead of me, people at my level, people that are kind of asking me questions about how I got the clients. So it's that mixed in with the community. There's natural accountability you get with the community without even meaning for it to be, because someone might ask, what program are you watching? Well, if you haven't watched a program, you've already got the natural accountability there of like,
okay, they're on you like a ton of bricks. I've seen it myself. I've seen it myself where somebody comes in and they're like, oh, I'm procrastinating today, I don't feel like it, and then 10 people just pounce on you and like, come on man, be better, you can be better than this, we're here to succeed. And it's like a few weeks later I'm seeing that same person who was procrastinating on a student interview with me, and I'm like, wow, that's wild. It really is. I'm buzzing, actually. That's one thing that really makes me happy when I really see people enjoying the community as well as the education, because education generally is about the learning, but it's also a social experience as well, right? It's nice to meet people and do all them things. We've got your story now a little bit. Why you joined Digital Launchpad, when you joined, how you found the community, what program you did. Let's now get to the nitty gritty and see how that's translated into the world per se. So 6-figure sales rep, you've watched it, you've learned key skills. Tell me how that's translated into your life in terms of personally, monetary value, return on that investment. Tell me how that's all played out.
Yeah. So, I mean, straight within a couple of weeks, I've been doing cold calling, by the way, for a couple of months, and pretty unsuccessfully, because I've not been the best cold caller, but just slowly learning. And then, I've been watching 6-figure sales rep, and then within about literally days, barely 2 weeks, I got my first client for £500 for the first month. And so, instant over 10x on my money. So it's been insane return there for just kind of the value. And again, that's like I said earlier to my point about within like the first hour, I had like half my notepad full of notes already. I've not really ever had that with any content before, because it was so digestible as well, the content. Like a lot of stuff I have to kind of like almost wanted to skip through in other places for like when are they explaining it, whereas I'm just like, especially someone, I love storytelling, I'm just kind of in awe, sat back with my notepad just watching Paul go through the points. And
that's the thing, when we bring programs in, even though these people are like experts at what they do, we still go through the curriculum with a fine-tooth comb and make sure there's no fluff in it, because obviously we know what the students want. So that's one of my responsibilities responsibilities to make sure that the programs that are coming in, they're a right fit, the curriculum's spot on, and there's no fluff. So really happy to hear you say that you feel the same way. But what's interesting about your story, from what I understand, is you closed your client at a networking event.
Yeah.
So you actually use the skills you learned in Six Figure Sales Rep in person. Tell me about that. Specifically, what was it that you realized that, oh shit, man, I learned that. I learned that at Digital Launchpad.
Well, exactly. One of the key things in Six Figure Sales Rep, like for most people, they're going to be using it in like a virtual, like cold calling or like appointment setting, whatever it might be. The thing that I didn't even kind of take into account as I was doing it, but obviously sales skills, marketing skills, it's transferable. It's just the communication skills that you acquire. And as soon as you understand these things and then you start learning them more than just short-term memory, but noted down and then slowly hone your skills more and more, I realized I was using the skills I'd learned from what I just watched from Six Figure Sales Rep, closing them at the call, and then from the event, spoke to them for a few minutes, booked a call with them, and then closing call, and then I got them like 3-4 days later as a client. So it was just the same skills in person.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable, man. Like, it's just, to hear that makes me so happy, because it's not just people learning valuable business skills, but actually learning life skills and transferable skills that are going to set them in good stead for no matter what they do. So, mate, it's fantastic. We're 2 weeks in, £500 return on a $37 investment. I don't know what that is in pounds, but it's obviously less than $37.
Yeah.
So that's amazing. So if I was to ask you right now, one of your friends or asks you, like, Patrick, tell me about Digital Launchpad. Is it worth me joining? Is it worth the investment? What would you say to that person?
It's a no-brainer. I mean, I'd think of some form of question, like a rhetorical question. If you're about to spend, aren't you going to go for a lunch that costs more than that? And then what are you going to learn from that lunch or something? But if you're actually trying to just improve in any way, like if you've got a business idea, you've been watching content for ages or for a small amount of time, and you're just stuck right now, or you're finally aware that you're not really making any progress. It's a few Netflix subscriptions and then there's infinite return, basically.
This is exactly what I was going to touch on as well, that the return on this investment doesn't stop, right? We've just quantified your return on investment. That I watched Six Figure Sales Rep, I learned XYZ skills, I've spent $37, 20 odd pounds, whatever it is, and I've made £500 return. We've quantified that for the purpose of this conversation, but really there's no limit on that skill you've learned. You will use that
the
over
sales
and
skill,
over and over. Exactly right.
So far it's
Copywriting skills, you will utilize them over and over and over again. So the return on investment doesn't actually stop. And it's important for people to understand that when you invest in Digital Launchpad, the skills that you actually acquire are going to stay with you for life, right? Sales, transferable, you're going to use that forever. Copywriting, I mean, everything comes down to emails and writing and copy. Literally. The e-commerce program, there's copyright in there, there's web design, there's so many things in there. And then we've got obviously many programs coming. We've even now got the lifestyle ones, like the Perfect Fit by Mans Taylor, which is going to drop today for the rest of the community. But again, make money and look dapper. I think that's the dream combo now. Right. So I mean, I could go on and on about what's coming, but fantastic hearing your feedback and genuinely speaking to people like yourself and seeing how much of a difference it's making to your lives and the students' lives is honestly, I know it sounds cliched, but it gives us a tremendous energy and a boost to think there's no limits to what Digital Launchpad can be. And thank you for coming on. And any final words, Patrick, before we wrap up?
I'll just say, like, what I've learned, even just so far, again, like within the first couple of hours of Six Figure Sales Rep, I've now got skills for life that I can't put a price on what I will get in return for that. And then I've got any other programs and the courses and like everything from Digital Launchpad. Yeah, it's an infinite return on investment for just a no-brainer of, say $7. So it's amazing.
My brother, I appreciate your time. I appreciate your effort, your self-reflection and everything that you've done to get to this point. And I'm pretty sure this is just the beginning for you, and super excited to be on this journey with you, man. So thank you once again for attending, and speak to you soon.
Speak to you soon. Thank you. Thanks.
Cheers.